Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora is Ubisoft developer Massive Entertainment's latest open-world game, and I loved it. It tells a standalone tale on the moon Pandora, and much like James Cameron's first Tomb films, it is stunningly beautiful. Unlike those films, though, I finally found myself connecting to the franchise in a way that went beyond the eye candy. The Na'vi look like weird giant cat people still, but the world they inhabit is one I adored. Frontiers of Pandora is an incredible canvas. It's one of the best maps I've ever experienced, both on the ground and in the air. For fans of the franchise, it's a dream come true, to frolic, fly, and fight your way through this amazing landscape. As always, I'll keep the story and any cool secret game mechanics as spoiler-free in my XboxEra review of Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. The game begins with your character and a few other Na'vi children being trained by the RDA, aka the menacing bad guys, to be a bridge for them in their conquest of Pandora. You'll get to choose your look and eventually embark on a bit restrictive but exhilarating escape sequence. The game feels good, and running, jumping, and sliding around as an over 10-foot tall furry felt great. As you escape your school/prison and enter the open world for the first time, it's that leaving the vault in Fallout style moment. And there's great gameplay, music, and action that all pale in comparison to the absolute splendor that is Pandora in this game. Heck, I'm not normally one that's into taking screenshots for my reviews. I'll do enough that I think shows it off, but in this one, I couldn't stop, and I think I ended up taking on like 60 or 70. Sadly, once again, PC Code had the Day 1 patch available much earlier than Xbox, thus that is what I reviewed. So I played fully maxed out on PC with FSR 3 and frame gen on with my 5800X CPU and 7900 XTX GPU. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to have any footage from the Xbox version for this review, but I should be able to update the text version over on XboxEra.com if you want to know how it runs. Myself, Gyotza, and John from the team have various PC and laptop setups, and the game looks and runs incredibly well on all of them. I even played on my Lenovo Legion Go, and it works there, so I'm pretty confident it should be okay on Xbox, but double check ahead of time. Massive and their Snowdrop engine are they're wizards, creating visual splendor rarely if ever seen before, but having it optimized so well that damn near anyone can enjoy it. Frontiers of Pandora is a map game, but it is not an icon-filled one. Exploration is at the heart of the title, though those looking for a more directed experience can choose to be guided by waypoints if they want. From afar, this looks like a Far Cry type of title, but in practice it just feels different to me. You're very fast, the world is completely alien, and you can eventually fly nearly anywhere on the back of your Ikran. I want to live in these frontiers, check every nook and cranny for upgrades, and take in just how damned beautiful it all is. The main quests are routinely excellent. They brilliantly change up between smaller, character-focused pieces and bombastic action free-for-alls when the time feels right. I completed the game in roughly 23 hours and still have enough side content for probably doubling that. And while the main campaign is consistently high in quality, the side content is a mixed bag. Frontiers of Pandora has a focus on living off the land, and you'll be constantly crafting and cooking and doing fetch quests for your fellow Na'vi and humans and the Resistance alike. The game feels like it has a really big budget most of the time. When it doesn't is mostly during side quests or open world activities, because you'll go from an incredible set of bespoke animations and lines of dialogues in a main mission into a copy and paste response from the 50th random Na'vi you've seen out in the open world. They'll hand you cool gifts like cooking materials, armor, weapons, and etc., but it's with the same lines over and over again. I think I met the same fisherman who was having terrible luck today at least 40 times. It's no Red Dead Redemption 2, which was famous for its incredible and costly dedication to variety. There are a lot of different side activities you can do to bolster your character's strength. You have a couple of systems to level up. The first is a basic experience system for skill points. You can improve your survivability, combat effectiveness, hunting prowess, and more. There are skill points located out in the open world as well, where certain plants can be interacted with to give you one, and all skill points spent add to your combat effectiveness. That is the second system, telling you how ready you are to fight the various high-level foes in the game. Every time you equip a piece of armor, a weapon, or a mod for either of those, the numbers go up or down, and it works well enough. The inventory management's okay, though it took me some time to get used to how everything works. There is a lot here, and sometimes I wouldn't interact with a particular system for a few hours and have to rack my brain to remember how something actually worked. You'll get multiple armor pieces and up to 4 equipable weapons at a time. There are 3 bow types, which are a short, medium, and long range variety, a spear thrower, grenade sling, assault rifle, and shotguns, which you can find through quests or chests. And you can also craft items too, and will need to build up clan favor or find spare parts as your 2 different currencies to spend. There are a lot of systems that work really well once you're comfortable with navigating them. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora's second best quality after its incredible looking world is its gameplay. You are a gigantic cat who can run and jump far better than any human could ever dream of. Holding jump gives you a higher leap and you can claw your way up walls like a mountain goat. The game's movement always feels really good. From the start until the end, I got a slow power ramp of new ways to move and fight, allowing me to take on every situation pretty much however I wanted. And while the game is easier if you're pretty good at stealth, you can beat every fight going full Doom Eternal on the RDA's asses. Starting with the longbow, which is actually your mid-range bow, it felt good to great depending on the situation. As I unlocked more weaponry, the possibilities felt damn near endless at times with how I would go about destroying a refinery to heal the land around it. After 5 hours or so, I had my flying mount, and my Ikran named Fury and I became devastating dealers of death from above. Using that longbow, I could pick off enemies or get to high vantage points and use my Navi senses to take out prey during a hunt. Sadly, some very severe difficulty spikes sour a few of the later campaign missions. As long as you maintain your combat effectiveness level, I think it will mostly be okay, but during this review period, I did rush a little more than I would have naturally, but I still found, even when I was the right level, a few of the late fights felt a bit unfair with just how much incoming damage I was taking. Still, on the whole, the game's combat and platforming are excellent. It far exceeds what is possible in a Far Cry title because you're no longer restricted by what a human body can naturally do. For any of the Navi weaponry, you will be constantly in the game's weapon wheel to craft ammo, which could get a bit tiring early on. Thankfully, there are upgrades to how much you can hold and make at a time that alleviates things a bit, but it did slow down my typical full-throttle combat style for the first half of my playthrough. Your main enemies will be humans on foot and those in amp suits, and I found the humans on foot to be more deadly than the ones in the amp suits as their tiny little guns were doing way more damage to me for some reason. It's a weird thing, and I have to imagine that's a bug and one that's probably going to be fixed before, if not after launch. The game does feature 2-player co-op, though it does feel like an afterthought. It's there, it works fine, and you can have a lot of fun, but it's not really fleshed out at all, outside of being able to ping and resurrect a teammate. Getting into the story a bit, I'll keep it as spoiler light/free as I can. And while the bad guy Mercer could have easily been called menacing T bad person with how one note he was, I did really enjoy the story of Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, way more than I have either movie. It's not a crazy plot or anything too deep, but the character writing and development were mostly solid. It can be a little predictable, and some of the characters' motivations were constantly puzzling, feeling more like a set-in-stone thing than something that was actually being earned. Outside of those instances, though, I cared a lot about my character, their friends, and everyone I met along the way. There's consequence in this story, where the deaths feel impactful and not plot-driven. The solid writing is supported by very good voiceover work. Navi and humans alike are well directed, matching the situations well as much as the incredible soundtrack does. I asked PR for the OST so that I can put it behind this video for review. Fortunately, I didn't get it in time, but trust me, it is really good. Combat music gets my blood pumping, the gorgeous chants make exploration a dream, and hitting the open plains on a dire horse as the wind sweeps everything up around you and the beats are hitting just right is sublime. On the bug front, I mostly just had a few crashes on PC, though I was getting game updates and driver updates. And I'll update the review over on the article on XboxEra.com once I get to play on console, but you are definitely going to want to keep an eye out for anyone covering the game. We're all getting the code a day before embargo, so it's probably going to be rough to get much out. And I did play again on the Lenovo Legion Go. I was using FSR at a mix of low and medium settings, and it ran pretty darn well at 1200p. It's not ideal for this type of gorgeous eye candy game, but it works, and it works pretty nicely. Wrapping things up, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora puts a bow on an incredible 2023 for PC and console players. It's the best type of Ubisoft open world title, one with a focus on fun gameplay, excellent storytelling, and respect for your time. It is perhaps the best looking game I have ever seen. It'll be a delight for fans of Avatar. This game is so damn good that even one apathetic to the IP like myself couldn't help but fall in love with it.